We'll get
Okay,
started.
you are live, Alfonso, if you'd like to start.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to be here to talk about the project about Hyperledger and in collaboration with GBBC's Token Taxonomy Framework. We're going to talk today about a really exciting implementation of our Token Taxonomy Framework in the area of education, which Alfonso and Piage will tell us about that they worked so diligently on the concept of learning tokens. Thank you for having us today. I'm Diana. I'm the head of research and sustainability at GBBC. And why don't we introduce ourselves? So, Alfonso, I'll take it to you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Alfonso Govela from Hyperledger Latin America Regional Chapter, and also a mentor, Linux Foundation mentor, and very happy to have been the mentor of Piash, as friends call, Tanjin Alam, who was the mentee. I'll give you, you can introduce yourself, Piash.
Hello everyone, myself I'm Tanjin and I'm the mentee of the Learning Token Hyperledger Besu 2023. Yeah, and welcome all of you. Yeah, thank you.
Jackson.
Yes, my name is Jackson Ross. I'm the technical program lead for GBBC. I work closely with Diana and have worked with Alfonso on several projects in the past through GBBC. So happy to be here to talk about this collaboration.
Please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to type them in our chat and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. But for now, let's get started with Alfonso telling us about the project.
Good. Well, this is the Hyperledger Mentorship Project 2023 called Learning Tokens and Hyperledger Besu. This is our third public session. We'll give you the links for the other two. This is the final presentation of the work we've done now, and it's a joint project of Hyperledger Foundation and GBBC, which is also a member of Hyperledger Foundation. Learning is a lifelong journey. We all know that. And our skills are our wealth. Skills are taught and learned through the transmission of knowledge. So what learning tokens are, they are the representation of the value of the transmission of knowledge. Tokens have been with us, it's not a new thing. They have been with us for 11 millennia. And they are predecessors of counting and writing. These are photographs of old tokens from Mesopotamia. In our case, an instructor teaches a skill to a learner, the skill is transmitted, the skill is acquired, the skill is assessed, the skill is confirmed, and then the instructor recognizes a unit of competence. This recognition is what the learning token is about. There are two ways to certificate acquisition of skills. Overall, as we call, where you follow a whole process of lessons, of assessments, skills, evaluation, and at the end, you get a certificate. Or what we are proposing is a granular acquisition of skills. As a lesson is presented and these competences recognized, and there's a scoring guide through which we give a learning token. In this way, each lesson, and eventually the granularity could be anything you want, could be each question in a quiz, it's recognized. So that we get a certificate, but also we have a skill wallet, and this is important. The skill wallet shows the profile of skills that any one of us have acquired over time. How did this happen? It happens within the same framework of self-sovereign identity verifiable credentials. There are institutions that grant learning tokens to learners that hold those tokens in a skill wallet, and they can use those tokens to prove their knowledge to verifiers, which might be employers, partners, or there's a special token that we can exchange in a marketplace that supports learning, collaborative learning. This is always regulated, as it should be, by the governance human part of authorities and participants in the program that define the governance framework and a trust registry. Learners register in institutions and courses, and institutions, instructors, and courses and scoring guides are listed in a trust registry that also registers the tokens granted. This allows the verifiers and the marketplace to have a trust source of trust in the trust registry. So from Clay, we've got our little tokens. There were thousands of them in Mesopotamia. We have our 4 little tokens for attendance, a score for the learner as they learn, also a score for the instructors as they teach, and a help token that is distributed among learners, to show their collaboration in a course or in some other fields. Jackson, this happens within the Token Taxonomy Framework. I'll let you explain it.
Yes, definitely. So just a little bit of context, I guess. GBBC, who I work for, is the largest industry association for blockchain and digital assets. We have over 500 members, ranging from startups to large enterprises and academic institutions. And that comes into play because one of the initiatives of GBBC, which is called the InterWork Alliance, focuses on creating standards and guidance for specific tokenization use cases. The standards and guidance that we produce are intended to be platform neutral and simply serve as a way to describe tokens in a plain language that everyone can understand, and provide guidance on how tokens should be implemented for specific use cases. And to kind of accomplish that, on the right-hand side, you'll see the Token Taxonomy Framework, or the TTF. That's really the foundation of the standards and guidance that the InterWork Alliance works on, and it is a plain English framework way to describe tokens in a generic way that outlines kind of the basics of the token, what behaviors it is able to exhibit. Is it able to be burned, minted, transferred, encumbered, as well as the data that it needs to contain to operate effectively within its specific use case. And so the output of the working groups within the InterWork Alliance is essentially a recipe or an outline for a token that any person looking to implement for that specific use case, they could take that to their technology provider and they could build them a token and a system that follows the kind of more generic guidance, and with the goal of having interoperable systems where, even if it's built on different technology, that the data elements and how the token behaves can be consistent across platforms. And so that's how we got involved with this project. Alfonso reached out and wanted to use the TTF as a way to help define the learning tokens that they were building. And so we were happy to provide our guidance in that regard and to be involved with this very interesting and extremely relevant project. Thank you, Alfonso.
No, thanks to you. And so now we go to the real work that Piash has done for 6 months. And before anything, I want to recognize his extraordinary work, enthusiasm, and he's been there 24/7 for 6 months. And we'll hope to have him further ahead also. Piash.
Yeah, thank you, Alfonso, and thank you, Jackson, for the insight that you have shared about the Token Taxonomy Framework. So since we have aimed to track the detailed learning accomplishment of the learners and found Yeah. So as I was saying, since we are aimed to track the detailed learning accomplishment of the learners, and from here we came up with the idea of the learning token. For instance, the tokenomics seems familiar to everyone of us. It's the combination of the word of the token and the economics. While creating of any sort of the cryptocurrency or any governmental token such as CBDC, we had to think how the minting, burning, and the distribution will work. In our case, while we are designing our learning token, which is basically an enhancement in the learning system, and it will create some proof of digital knowledge acquisition in form of digital token. So while designing it, we took the help of the Token Taxonomy Framework. In short, Token Taxonomy Framework break down the tokens into basic reusable parts, and here from the picture we can see the template. So what it does, it defines the capabilities and the restriction of the tokens. In the picture we can see that token template has two parts, formula and the definition. In terms of the formula, we have introduced fungible and non-fungible token. In terms of the fungible token, throughout the course we have same type of token as the unit showed as collaborative helping effort of the learners. This is why we have introduced the fungible token. On the other hand, we have the non-fungible token. First, say the learner will get a unique attendance token for attending the class, and this is why we have introduced non-fungible token as well. Next, the definition derived from the formula based on the fungibility and non-fungibility. We have attendance score and collective support. Finally, we have classes and instances. Classes represent the deployment token from the template, and the instance stands for the single unit of the token. Next slide, please. Yeah, so here we can see the formula that we have created for two of our tokens. From the left table, we can see the base, behavior, and the property set. What is it? In terms of the token taxonomy framework, the concept of the base type, behavior group, and the property sets are the fundamental building block for describing the tokens. Since the framework is enriched with lots of the predefined component, we had to choose that suit best for the learning token. From the table, we can see the property that we have chosen accordingly. So based on type here, the type represents the core functionalities of the token. Behavior defines the specific action that can perform, and next, the property sets encapsulate a set of the properties that define the specific characteristics of the tokens. And finally, we have formulated the formula from those properties sets. And here we pick to design the learning token. We have used the token taxonomy tools to generate the artifacts and formula that have been showed here. The formula are not written by hands or generated manually. For those who are interested in a comprehensive description why and how we chose this property, I strongly suggest you to have a look in the token taxonomy framework. Probably we will have the reference at the end of the slide, or we can also share it in the comment section as well. Can you go to the next slide, please? Since we are looking forward to have a pilot, and we are really happy to share that we are with the collaborative effort with the World Calisthenics Organization, we have done the pilot. What is World Calisthenics Organization? It is a global leader promoting calisthenics for the fitness and the well-being. They offer high-quality education and the training program, empowering people of any ages embrace the body weight exercise, reach its full potential. I'd like to thank them once again for their support throughout the entire pilot. I guess all of them are present here. Yeah. Can you go to the next slide, please? Before I jump into the detail how we conducted the pilot, I'd like to show how their platform works. So the World Calisthenics Organization offers several courses, and we have chosen WCO Fundamental Level 1 here. So here from the image 1, we can see we have several lessons under the course, and in the picture 2 we can see each lesson consists of several quizzes, and from image 3 we can see they keep the track of the login and for each student. From the image 4, we can see the result for each student, and image 5 and 6, the progress log and result. So I hope it will help us to know how the educational organization work because we have done the pilot with them. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this is the registry per course. We can see we have institution registration data, instructor registration data, and course registration data, scoring guide per course, and learner registration data. In short, I can say if anyone wants to adopt or integrate learning token into their platform, this is what we are going to need to communicate with them to the ecosystem. We'll later on convert it into the SDK with the proper documentation in the near future, so that anyone can come and read the documentation how to get started with learning token. Since in the learning token ecosystem, we maintain a hierarchy where we have institution, and under institution we have several instructor, and under each instructor we have several courses, where each courses will have formed with some learners. So with this data of World Calisthenics Organization, we got registered and run the pilot with them. Let's talk about the scoring guide per course table we can show here. So it basically says everything about a course, because it will help anyone to find how many lessons are there within a course and what is the maximum amount of token that is allocated in the per course and the per lessons. So that anyone can easily find the comparison of grades that anyone have achieved. Can we go to the next slide? Throughout though our main focus is to design the token and streamline the massive open course, MOOCs, and the small private open course using Token Taxonomy Framework, and implement the smart contract and deploy it within the Hyperledger Besu. But to interact with it, we need to have a graphical user interface. And so from here, we'll discuss how we'll start with the learning token and how the journey will looks and how World Calisthenics Organization did it. Since we need to deploy the entire system into the cloud infrastructure during the execution of the pilot project, we choose Polygon testnet to deploy our smart contract, and we use the AWS to deploy the front end and the back end. From here, we can see International University of Business, Agriculture and Technology is joining the platform as an institution, and filled all the required fields with the latitude and the longitude and the other required field from that is required in the form. And from the right side, we can see the data we have stored on the blockchain during the pilot project that the World Calisthenics Organization did. Can you go to the next slide? This is the interface for instructor registration. So when an instructor is going to register, he will have to fill up the form. Let's say Alfonso is going to register into the platform. Since we are talking about the pilot project, right on the right side, the data that we can see, I pull the data from the Polygon testnet, where the World Calisthenics Organization instructor Sammy was registered during the pilot. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, this interface is for creating course as an instructor. Before creating each course, we need course name. So we need to select, while we're creating the course, we need to select under which institution we're going to create the course. And our smart contract is designed in such a way that the instructor will only show those university that he belongs to. And next, we'll need two files. Yeah. So this is the registration form for the learners. So from the left side, we can see the interface that we have designed. When any learner is trying to register in our platform, he has to fill all those data and register. On the right side, we can see the data that was the person that registered during the pilot, the Stella and the Andrea. So they are the person who registered during the pilot. Can you go to the next slide? Yes. So finally, from those two images, we can see instructor is distributing the token by uploading a standard token template. So we have 4 types of tokens. So from this interface, the instructor will come here and select he want to transfer token in a bulk or in a single. We have both option available here. And after all the distribution of the token, when the learner get logged in, we'll have a skin like this. Below we have a skill wallet of learners, or they will be able to see the learner achievement as a token associated with all the metadata that we can see here. Can you go to the next slide?
Okay. So what we have with learning tokens is the possibility of recognizing in a granular way each of the lessons, each of the quizzes. And we give, through the scoring guide, we give learning tokens for each of those issues, as granular as any instructor would like to do. And so if the course is completed and if it has a cost, it's paid and you get a certificate. But in a lot of places in the world, sometimes certificates are expensive for many of us. The recording stopped. Okay. Well, I'll continue without the recording. But if we have learning tokens, we can have recognition of as much as we advanced, even if we don't have the certificate yet. We can have the skill wallet that covers up for all the real acquisition, with the certificate or without the certificate. And that's the power of this presentation that we're giving to you. What would be the next steps after the mentorship program? Well, there would be governance, technical, and courses. In terms of governance, Piash is uploading the formulas, definitions, artifacts, all the information that it is also in our links that we will give afterwards to the TTF repository. We are writing a joint report, Hyperledger and GBBC, and eventually we would like to have a working group that could evaluate the evolution of this learning tokens. On the technical side, what Piash did has to evolve it into an SDK so that any platform of any program anywhere in the world can connect automatically and ease the difficult and many times unpleasant task, I know as a teacher, of grading. Okay. And then another next step that we all take in parallel is we have to test it more beyond. I appreciate what WCO did with us, but I think we should start in-house with Hyperledger and with GBBC and some other courses. And with that idea, I give the mic to Diana, or Diana para los amigos.
Sí,
No.
yo soy de Bolivia, así que hablo español también. Un gusto
Please.
trabajar con Alfonso. So I'll go back and explain. we're very, very excited about this collaboration, and I want to give you an overview on the GBBC and of some of our research initiatives. We put together generally alongside our members like Hyperledger, a number of in-depth reports, and also we have a series of open source ideas, which are shorter reports that are very specific to any use case, and they cover blockchain use cases across industries, across all industries essentially. We are working with Alfonso and Hyperledger on a special report, which will be coming to explain in further detail the concept of ETF as it may be applied for education and in particular the learning tokens. It's really important to highlight the importance of standards because standards facilitate interoperability and interoperability facilitates collaboration. And if we don't all work under some sort of agreement of the same rules, um, implementations like this won't really take off. But if we go to the next slide, I want to mention, in addition to our special reports and open source idea reports, we also have an annual launch of a very comprehensive crowdsourced initiative called the Global Standards Mapping Initiative, where we cover the key elements of different aspects of blockchain and digital assets. You can see the statistics that span from regulation, taxonomy, a compilation of different forms of technical standards, a mapping of the stakeholders in the space, and a number of reports and visuals that cater to different sectors. Within those key findings, if we go to the next slide, one of our GSMI components is a mapping of courses that teach blockchain and digital assets. And we have compiled close to 2,000 courses all over the world taught by universities and other accredited institutions. You can see the statistics. They span across all academic fields, mostly in the area of computer science and engineering. They span all regions, and they also span across graduate, undergraduate, and professional courses and certificates. The reason why I want to highlight our repository of courses is that the project of learning tokens may be of interest for universities like these. And if anyone in the audience is interested in learning more about the project of learning tokens and exploring ways that it can reach implementation across different educational institutions, please reach out to us. And more to come, but in our next iteration of GSMI, which we update consistently every year, will explore the possibility of learning tokens for educational institutions as something that we could support and implement. But if we move to the next slide, we'll conclude this presentation. Alfonso, if you want to mention a little bit the resources that you've put together.
Yes, yes. We would like to know what you think. We would like to engage you, all of you, in a conversation. And for that, we have the repository of the mentorship, Hyperledger Mentorship Program, which is called Learning Tokens at Hyperledger Besu. And that's at the wiki of Hyperledger. And that's one of the interns, Piash, in the program. The pilot is presented also in an article in Medium, and you can see the slides that we presented. But then we also have a lab, a Hyperledger lab. Hyperledger labs are special spaces for collaboration, and we got, fortunately, one for learning tokens, and this is the GitHub repository where you can have all the information, not only about the project and the documents, and you can go to the README, but most important, you can see all the formulas definitions, artifacts that Piash has created together with Jackson, from the Token Taxonomy Framework, and also the code. The code is there in our GitHub repository. And for all of you that might want to get engaged with the Token Taxonomy Framework, we're giving you also the InterWork Alliance TTF GitHub repository. What is this all about? I think that it's time to really recognize the importance of skills. And this is not something that we are proposing. Many people are working on what it's called the Skill First Initiative, where employers, where partners, many people evaluate the skills in a granular way for jobs, for businesses, for what have you. And I think that we are presenting an alternative of recognizing those initiatives of skill acquisition and giving every one of us a skill wallet that is our profile of skills that we hold for life. And as we continue the journey of learning, well, we have a wallet, to treasure all the recognitions of the skills that we have acquired. So as a takeaway, we can measure, recognize, and reward learning. You're welcome to use it. This is our contact slide, and maybe we can go to the Q&As. We've been shorter than we thought, so it gave us a lot of time to engage in the conversation. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that we can start with Q&A.
I'm going to say we've got a few folks in the chat who said that they're interested in the learning tokens. If either of you want to raise your hands or expand on what you're working on or what angle you'd be approaching learning tokens from, please shout out.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to learn about what is happening here. This is such an incredible initiative that I think Alfonso and Piash are spearheading, that it really has been inspiring to be able to know that there is a standard that other projects can follow. Our software development agency has actually been trying to bring something of a learn to earn model. When we came across what Piash and Alfonso were building, we knew we had to fall in line and really understand how we can do our best to align. And I'm grateful to be here. There's a lot of information that I think has opened my eyes to how the framework for these different tokens and the taxonomy can really help us take things to the next level. And I'd be really interested in learning more about that, because it really does seem like a great way to bring corporate entities who are looking for services or talent together with talent who has been able to prove that they have a certain skill. And so that's actually the concept that we've been working on, and would love to see this moving forward in one way or another with everything that's going on here with the taxonomy framework. So I really do appreciate the knowledge.
Thank you, Johnny, not only for the question, which is quite relevant, but for all the support and all the faith in the project. We did the pilot thanks to you and your Brendan, that is also here in the group, Sammy and Andrea. Andrea, it's not too late for him in Italy, but maybe he got some other thing and couldn't be with us, but he'll see the recording. So thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny, for believing in us. And we look forward to to continue working with you. And I thought that it was very good that one of the first, the first pilot was for something relating to our bodies and our health. So if our bodies are in good shape, we might have better chances to learn.
One thing I do know is that there is, hi Alex, yes, I love that solution. And I'm actually really happy you brought that up because that was the concept that I think um, we had originally began with because it is a very much a decentralized finance type of way of looking at it. But this token taxonomy framework helped us realign with the true potential for corporate entities and being able to connect talent in this gig economy in a new way. And that's why I'm so grateful to learn what we can do. I know that the World Calisthenics Organization has a big goal of being able to help gyms all over the world be able to identify high quality professionals through this type of education process and certification and the granular education that you're bringing here, the way to quantitatively track it. And I think that that's going to be the key for these different gyms so that that way they know who they're working with. And I'm really grateful that you guys have expanded our perception of things and looking forward to seeing how Hyperledger Labs can help move this initiative forward.
Yes, and thank you, Alexander, for your question in the chat. I'll read it. Uh, you ask, do you see blockchain as a solution to collecting royalties on education and courses, similar to what's being explored in music? Yes. No, that's a question that Johnny already answered, and I thank you, Alex, for asking it. Um, it's a way to collect royalties, but also it's a way to share health tokens. Okay, and those learning tokens. I'm reading Brendan's question at the same time, and I'm on an old male hardware that is not good for multitasking. No, you young people or you can do it now, but at our time, the hardware was incomplete. No, so our learning tokens could be a way of helping each other, and that help could be exchanged, in a market that supports education, and it could be a monetary support, or could be an in-kind, and that's where it relates exactly to what you're asking. Brendan, I made a mistake because I was reading your comment in the chat, and Brendan says health is wealth. Sweat equity. Every drop of sweat equals a deposit into your bank of personal health. I think I withdrew it a long time ago, Brendan, but you can talk
Alfonso,
more.
if I could touch on another item real quick that I actually know that has been really essential ever since we started talking about this entire aspect of education. I happen to work with a company that is able, or an organization, I'm sorry, that is able to provide what is called a green designation so that that way they can get better access to financial opportunities. Now, this is where the learning education comes in, or the learning process comes in, and the learning tokens initiative comes in, which is, from what I'm understanding, I think what you guys are establishing here is the ability for players to be able to leverage your SDK to connect their own platforms to be able to relay information back to this learning token initiative. Let's call it on Hyperledger, right? Which would be the central repository where anybody can actually validate what would be somebody's perceived knowledge along the way. Is that correct?
Piash
That's
is
amazing.
saying yes with his head, so I'll give the
I
microphone
saw
to
it.
him.
I saw that, and it made me really happy to see that. That's great to hear.
Piash.
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is what actually we are thinking in the long run. So in the long run, we will have a central repository where all the data will be there, and all the registered universities are there, and all the courses are there, and within the courses we have all the registered instructor. So in a sense, it will be a truth source where any other entities will come here and make the query to find like the so I want to hire some this as the X skill person. So since it work as a source of truth, and since it's stored in the all in the blockchain, so we can eventually trust it. And yeah, many other entity can come and join this this project. Yeah.
Well, I know it's a learning initiative, but it sounds like I'm going to be selling it to all of my friends that they should probably start transitioning a lot of the way that they consider helping to teach others and inspire communities to a concept like this, where we can really drive information back to a central repository that can help us validate it in separate ways, outside of physical degrees. I know that that seems to create a lot of different private silos. And I think that one of these things that this is doing is it's breaking apart all the silos of private data. I'm really happy to see that. I know it's a concept you've really hit on before, Alfonso, and I look forward to seeing how this really spreads worldwide.
David Boswell from Hyperledger would be sending emails to all the people that registered with not only the link to the recordings, but also the links to the Hyperledger Lab, the GitHub repository. And so you would have in your emails that information to connect and to further continue working on this.
I know I'll definitely be taking advantage of it. And Alexandra, I hope that we get to meet a little bit more through that. And I do apologize. I have terrible internet connection. And Diana, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be able to learn more about what you're all working on. I know it's an exciting opportunity. And if I can learn how to align a little bit more, whatever structure you have, it'll really bring a lot of benefit to my community. And hopefully I can help spread the word.
Diana.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for interacting with us. Please feel free to contact us if you want to hear more about the Token Taxonomy Framework. Again, all of our resources are open source and free to use for the community, and we're here for any needs on guidance, implementation, community aspects. This collaboration with Hyperledger is amazing, and we really hope that the implementation of common standards for tokens in the education space can really take off.
Alexander is asking, do you have a set of heuristic that you use or have a roadmap for this validation? It's interesting because we are relying, Alexander, on the instructor's wisdom. The instructor, we allow the institutions to register, whomever, the instructors, the courses, but we allow them to set up scoring guides. And scoring guides is the grading policy that each instructor has to validate what they want to validate. Okay. We suggest, but it's only a suggestion. We suggest, as there are many grading ways around the world, letters, numbers, what have you. We suggest that maybe learning tokens could be given as percentages. So a scoring guide for a course, any course, would be 100 points. And the instructor is the one that defines how many points are given for attending. It's quite valid for people just to attend and listen and learn by listening. How many points you give as an instructor? You give for the quizzes, the homeworks, the code that you have to write. No. And how many tokens you give to recognize the engagement in the community. No. And those engagement tokens are the ones that are fungible. You see, those are the ones that we want to create a market around, helping. and collaborative learning. But also you would have a way of recognizing the ability of the instructor to teach. And so you give tokens to the instructor, you know. And so we accept that scoring guide as valid. And if the institution is registered, the instructor is registered, the course and the scoring guides are registered in the registry of trust, or the trust registry, then whenever the instructor wants, he is the one that creates and transfers tokens. Okay, so the validation is there. The validation is in the hands of the instructor. And the registry of trust is open. It's open to all. And the wallets are open to the, with self-sovereign identity control to show what you want to whom you want to. Does that answer what you asked?
Yes, it does. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, fantastic. Just checking the mic. Yeah, thank you very much. Wonderful presentation. Very, very interesting. I love the space. I've been working kind of closer, tangential to it for a while. You know, I started with looking at algorithmic central banks and things like that, and kind of moved more into Web3 and actually Web2 and Web1 too. I have a technical interest in that kind of stuff, but this is fascinating. I really, really like this idea. Not only from a financial standpoint, but I think this could revolutionize education.
Well, you are most welcome. And I agree. I agree absolutely with you.
Can we just, as you left your contact information, we can just reach out if we're interested in collaborating after we take a look at the Git and kind of go through the code and stuff?
Please do. Please do. We'll be delighted. We'll be delighted to hear and to continue, you know, together. Piash.
Thank you.
Piash is
Yeah, I guess like as the way we have expected, there is a lot of attendees out there, and we're happy to have all of you here. And we're looking forward to have the feedbacks, and because we are looking forward to make something standard that can be adopted out all. So in that case, we need the feedbacks from all of you and the supports as well.
Brendan wrote in the chat, 100% revolutionize education, becoming a global system of recognition, knowledge, and skill. Yes, that's what we're aiming for, Brendan. We're aiming for building together a standard. And here is where GBBC, TTF come into play. We build together. Standards have to be built together. Should not be imposed. Okay. And once we build together that standard, then we have a chance for people like you and more to come to say, hey, I think that's useful. Let's use it. And as they use it, they would say, well, yeah, but why don't we make a little change here and there? Well, come to the working standard groups and modify the standard. No. But always. Yes. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Alfonso. What's been the reception from the general, already stated university community that already has, a scheme in place? Have you received a warm reception, or have they been a little bit more on the reticent side?
Well, we haven't had enough. Okay, we just began. this is our second year, okay, with the mentorship program for learning tokens. Last year, at the very beginning, we had the pilot project, which was very, very small, and it didn't have the success that we had this year. It was good, but it was not as advanced as Piash did it this year. Was with the Jesuit University in El Salvador, okay, and it was a very small, not in the curriculum, but a parallel Excel course, and so we are completing this phase. In fact, we finished the 30th of November, 2 weeks ago. Now it's the time to really begin testing the waters. And well, there would be interest. There would be a lot of suggestions for improvements, and we are welcome to all of them. That's what building standards is all about.
And I'm so sorry to interrupt. Maybe I missed this. When is going to be the first working group session?
We haven't defined it yet. Okay, we're going to complete the joint report, which is quite, I'm happy to say, quite advanced. Okay, and after having that report and with all this recording, we'll distribute it to all of you and begin distributing as Diana said. Johnny speaks Spanish also, Diana.
Johnny.
Okay.
Hola, aquí estoy con usted. Si necesita algo, le apoyo. Un mucho gusto conocerla.
Igualmente.
And Johnny and Alexander, Diana explained that the Global Standard Mapping Initiative, with the help of Jackson, okay, it's been going on for 4 years, and this last edition has almost 2,000 institutions.
Jackson has been instrumental, I have to say, in advancing the TTF and can be of a resource for anyone with any questions.
And we'd like to reach out to them, Alexander.
Thanks for all the hard work, Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
It's a lot of work, Jackson. You can tell us more about it.
What are the plans on the behind you, Alfonso? The sketches, the architectural drawings?
Yes. Yes.
Are they of cathedral or?
Well, it's always good to aim for the stars. Okay.
Gotcha.
We might get to Cancun, and even that would be good, which is nearby. But we're aiming for the stars.
Excellent.
So it is a cathedral. And as cathedrals go, it might take a lot of time, but each stone that we want to put it in place to support more stones on top of it.
Wow.
And that's why we're working with you guys at GBBC. And you, Johnny, with circular finance and all the other people at Hyperledger also. A lot of the special interest groups that might benefit from learning tokens. And Hyperledger itself, it has a series of courses. But,
if I could ask, what would be the 1-year goal that maybe we could just kind of openly share out there? What is something that the GBBC is kind of aspiring that would transpire out of this? I know that it's an incredible opportunity to get it out to the public. But once it's out there, it's like a monster. People will try to manipulate it in whatever way you're inspiring them. But what is the ideal goal here? I see that there's a lot of synergies with what could potentially be the re-education and the reconnection with jobs. Is that somewhere where you guys want to go, considering it is somewhat of a business council?
Jackson, you run a lot of the working groups and a lot of the TTF traction thus far has been in the area of environmental carbon credits, accounting for carbon credits. I'm sure, please say more, but it's community oriented and it's very crowdsourced.
Yeah, so from the GBBC side, I can speak a little bit to the kind of working groups that the InterWork Alliance operates. So I mentioned the kind of membership of GBBC being fairly broad. It goes across industries and includes academic institutions. So, there is an opportunity potentially for a working group to come out of this either under GBBC or under Hyperledger that can go a little bit more into this. Within the IWA, the kind of specifications, standards, and guidance that we produce is all implementation neutral. So, we don't want to gate anyone in our community for a particular platform. And so the Token Taxonomy Framework gives us that kind of avenue to describe tokens in a way where you could build them into your system and have a level of interoperability between different platforms. And so allowing our members to come together and discuss the use cases, learn from implementations, and kind of incorporate those learnings back into the standard is kind of what we do regularly for our work. So, as this use case evolves, it gets more traction and gets more buy-in from different stakeholders. There's definitely opportunities for working groups, as well as, the tie-in that Diana made with the Global Standards Mapping Initiative that we do, using that as a resource and allowing Alfonso and the team to use that as a resource to reach out to different academic institutions that may be interested in blockchain and digital assets, not only for their participation in the project itself, registering their own courses, but also, giving their expertise and knowledge on the education field back to the standard and the guidance, so that it's more applicable, and we make sure that it's difficult to get all of the requirements at once and have it all implemented and put together all on the first go. So, learning from the implementations and the feedback that we get from the different kind of players that guidance and those token standards touch is extremely important. So that can also be an avenue for feedback in that way.
Yeah, we're always open to feedback on our listing of courses, and we have a community, obviously, of observing member institutions who are educational institutions as part of GBBC, and this is an interesting topic of conversation. And we're also thinking of running roundtables moving forward, as well as conversations to engage the community and membership on topics of interest. So if this is one, we can take ideas and feedback and turn it into something where we can provide some suggestions and continue this conversation.
Thank you.
I would love to attend those. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're at the top of the hour. I'm really delighted that we were short on the presentation and very, very long on the Q&A, because that indicates that we have to continue Q&As, for further ahead. I want to thank you, Piash, first, because without his work in this 6 months, we wouldn't be where we are. Thank you, Piash, for a great opportunity. I enjoyed very much working with you. I also want to thank GBBC, for their support and for their interest to continue. And of course, Hyperledger, both at the Hyperledger Mentorship Program and Hyperledger at large as that beautiful, huge, almost cathedral size Jackson. For open source and blockchain. Okay. So thank you very much, all of you, for being here and for your interest to continue being with us.
Thank you, Alfonso.
Hasta luego.
Thanks, everyone.
See you there. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Great to meet